Last week we took you into some terrible places in Pattaya, the Sin City of Asia. This week we're going to go back to the same city, but we're going to show you how the light of the gospel is shining into that dark place and bringing Jesus' deliverance to these precious people. Has a word for us. You come on a great harvest, God, that reaches beyond. Pattaya is actually a world-renowned tourist center in Asia, and this is about a little over 100 kilometers south of Bangkok on the eastern seaboard. Beautiful water out here and great area just to relax, and a lot of fun is had in this area. 50 years ago, Pattaya was a quaint fishing village, very quiet, like so many of the fishing villages along this coastline. The huts were all made out of bamboo with grass roof, thatch roofs, and so on. Then when we get into the era of the Vietnam War, the big American warships would stop here, and you would see them off the beach here. Huge ships, 5 or 6 of them lined up, and the soldiers would come in for their times of rest. They would really paint this town red. Now we see on these streets, Pattaya has really developed into an international paradise for holidayers from the Western world, and you can get about anything that you want here. Great water sports, all kinds of tourist attractions have developed here, and it's just so many things have developed in this place so that it's become known really as a paradise for Western tourists. When you look at what goes on in this city, it is very disturbing and very difficult to handle, really. And it's not a place that we normally come to. In fact, we usually avoid it every opportunity we get. Just down the road from me here is what we call Walking Street, where they've actually closed the street to, automobile traffic so that people can, dance and party on the streets there without being hindered. And as this city gets going around sundown, every ugly thing comes up and comes out of the heart of man, the wickedness that's here. We got to warn you that on this program you're going to see some very explicit things. You won't want your children to watch this, and you just want to have your heart ready, because there's some very ugly things that go on in this program, in this city. We want you to see this because this is the reality of the places we live and the reality of the people that we minister to. When we see the degradation that goes on in the world, in the heart of man, and a place like this where it is so freely expressed, sometimes it just blows you away. So we want you to be warned for this program that you've got to be careful about who watches the program, be careful how you watch it, and we want you to know that we're not showing you these things to gross you out. We're showing them because we want you to understand and want you to really see what goes on in the nations of the world and in places like this. Pattaya is called the Sin City by the Sea. It's gained this name over the last 50 years because you can partake of any kind of imaginable sin in this place. There's all kinds of drugs that go on, of course, here, and drug rings and so on that are operating in the city. Over the years, as this beach has developed for tourists, it's become divided into sections. These divisions are known by the different kind of sexual sins that are presented on each part of the beach. It's very hard to walk through the city without being propositioned. You walk down the little streets, they're full of, there's girls lining the streets on both sides in their really scant clothing and so on, and they're just winking at you and waving at you and smiling at you. But really, you got to feel for these girls that are caught in this kind of a trade. And most of them are from out of the city. They're from the Northeast. They're from different places. Many of them have been sold by their families, actually, into the sex trade in this city because the family sees an opportunity to make money, and the girl doesn't figure out until she's here exactly what she's come to do. And very many sad stories about that. And that's one of the reasons that we really need to look after the young people. We need to minister to the young people and the children, because they have two options when they grow up. They can become something of a leader and something of a good citizen if they have an opportunity, or they can end up in a flesh trade like we see in this city just because of the desperation of their families, of their parents, and so on. But we have a couple working in this city, Matt and Angela, and I can remember when they first came, actually it was before they were married, young couple, thinking about, you know, getting married. They were engaged at the time, and really about what God wanted them to do with their lives. And so they came on a short-term missions trip to Thailand, and they came and stayed with us for a couple weeks, came to this city, had a look around, and God really touched their hearts that they were to come here and begin a ministry to reach the youth in this city. And after that, they went home, they got married, of course, came back and worked in our ministry.
Our names are Matthew. I'm Matthew Lutz. This is my wife Angela and our little baby Hannah. We're both 26 years old, and Hannah is 1 year and 1 month old. We've been in Thailand now for 3.5 years. Before we were married, we wanted to go somewhere to make sure that we could work together, you know? And it was at that time that the chance came up for us to come to Thailand and on a short-term missions trip for 1 month. And when we were in Thailand that first month, we worked at some children's home, helped out with Victory, Bible college a little bit. And it was at that time that we came to the city of Pattaya. And while sitting in the city of Pattaya, we knew that God had very specifically just said, this is home, this is home. And it was later after that that God made it very clear that we need to open up a youth center of some type for the teenagers of Pattaya. This city is known as the extreme city. You know, it's a city where people come from all over the world to do things that maybe in their cities it's unlawful to do, you know, and they can't find a way to do it. But in this city you can. So we found there is constant, you know, rampant, you know, prostitution. Drugs are very easy to come by. If I walk down by the street, I get offered cocaine, heroin, marijuana within 5 minutes, no question. Cheap as well. We've met people there's tons of child molestation that goes on here. And basically any extreme of the world that you would want to get into here, you can. Some people come just for vacation. It's not all bad. Like, there is beautiful beaches and beautiful water and all that.
It was started as a town when during the Vietnam War soldiers would have rest. They would come here to this little coastal town and kind of relax. Well, the things that soldiers liked the most became the industry of the city, like prostitution and beer, drinking, whatever. And that's what became the main industries. But then tourists found out about it and started taking advantage, like a lot from Europe started coming. And so now the main industries of Pattaya are prostitution, tourism, drink, and like bars and such. And so basically the feel of the city at night is just like sin. Sin City is what people call it. It's like the Las Vegas of Thailand, but even worse than that.
The first time I came here, I went down to Walking Street and was like, what is going on? You know, you have naked women jumping around all over the place, you know? And it was shocking, you know, to me. But even you talk to the teenagers that grew up here, and they really, and I believe Hannah will be the same way. She'll see it every day. She'll know what's right and wrong, but she'll be able to minister in such a more effective and easy way, because there won't be that shock, you know, oh my goodness, what are you doing, you know? It'll be like, oh yeah, you know, you want to know about Jesus, you know? Yeah, you're standing here half naked, you know? Do you want to know about Jesus, you know? And she'll have a love for people, even in wretched sin, because what is the whole consensus around all the ministries in Pattaya is that people see this city as Sodom and Gomorrah, right? But the ministries in Pattaya, we see it as Nineveh, in that God sent people to go to this city because his heart is to bring them back to him. And no matter how wretched the sin is, and no matter what, God's going to bring them back. And we're just so thankful that Hannah could join us. To her, this is home. And it's just been it's a joy to raise her here.
We'll be right back with Continuum.
Become a partner today and be one of the first to receive our special edition DVD, Missionaries in Stealth Mode 2. Plus, we'll send you the newest issue of Continuum magazine, detailed reports of what God's doing in Asia. Call or go online to Continuum Media today.
And now from like to return to the classics.